Hey, friends. Welcome to the Raising Boys and Girls podcast. I'm Sissy Goff.
And I'm David Thomas, and we're so glad you joined us for this conversation. Let's dive in. Okay, we have been looking so forward to this conversation. One of the most fun things about this series is not just talking about a topic that we all love and are deeply interested in, but the excuse to get to sit down with people
we
love, enjoy, admire, and respect. And we are in the room with two of those today.
Amen to that.
Who we are so excited to learn from about being a four. And so where we'd love to start is to ask you both what you would say you love the most about your number and what do you love the least?
Well,
just a little intro question.
I know that you're diving right in.
Diving right in.
And I had to think about the part that I loved the most. It was easier to think about, kind of what I liked the least.
Yes.
So I had to give it a minute. But I think my response to that is I love that authenticity is really just all we really know how to be. To be authentic. It's really, it's just, I appreciate it's I guess it's a gift and maybe sometimes a curse, but I like it. I like that telling the truth about myself is something that is important to me. And I think it invites other people to also be their authentic selves.
Yes.
So I think that is probably one of my favorite things.
That's so interesting to think about with you being a therapist and you being an artist and songwriter, because you're inviting people in through listening, through sitting with you to be their authentic selves.
Yeah.
And it would make sense that you would both, who you are, would pave the way for people to do that. I love that.
That's true.
Cool.
Yeah.
And both sort of like occupations that are like, well, if we're not going to at least do that, what are we doing?
Right.
Yes. So true.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't really do, I couldn't do anything where I couldn't be authentic, I think. That just feels like a really deep knowing and sort of motivation. Yeah. I mean, I was also going to say I like we're being honest with ourselves, so seeking to understand, again, back to my career, it's like I want to understand myself, which can be, focused on like maybe too much interior gazing. But again, as we do that, we invite other people too. And so just that seeking to be understood, but also to understand and to helping other people want to do that for themselves. So I hope that's what comes out of that.
Great.
I do not like that I focus on what's missing. I do not like that. Like that feels like a negative approach. Glass is half empty. That feels like that's my, out of the gate. It's looking just like that radar is on for what's missing. Which also kind of leads to another thing I don't like, which is envy. Our passion is envy. And that, growing up, just comparing yourself to other people and just that longings that you have as a four. And then you make up these stories about another person or lots of other people and what they have or what their life is like. And, just there's those things kind of go together. What's missing from my life, which also leads to feeling like you don't have enough. So it's like this scarcity mindset. And I want to be more grateful. I want to feel that I am enough, I have enough, so that I can experience joy and gratitude for what is there. And so when you're looking at what's not there, you miss some of that. So I think that's the hardest thing for me. So
thank you.
I think I would say my favorite thing is the ability, the ease with which I feel like I'm able to sit in sadness Like when I do feel sad, I'm okay with it. I even when I was a kid, I would like lean into it, almost enjoy it a little bit. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's. It's interesting because when you ask the question, that's immediately the first thing that pops into my mind, which almost is surprising to me. You know, but I do see that the older I get, the more that I've learned about the Enneagram, and you know, I've had Dave Barnes and I talk about this a lot. He's a 7, and so he's like, their thing is like, we are avoiding pain all the time, at all costs almost. And so at least in that one angle, I'm like, well, that at least that's one little snare that I can avoid, because I'm like, I can lean into that, you know.
It makes me so grateful that the two of you have a podcast together, because what different perspectives y'all bring to Dadville.
Yeah.
You know, that's such a gift to all the listeners.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I mean, it's definitely, we have different takes on a lot of things, which makes it really interesting, you know. I think my least favorite is, and I think you mentioned this like so often, like the thing that you love is somehow can also be the thing that makes it the hardest. I mean, I can easily be dictated by whatever emotions are happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I've gotten a little bit better at that, but you know, if my wife were in here, she could give us a more accurate gauge on like if this is improving or not. But she would definitely say, like, you know, as we all do, I present a certain way when we're out in public, and a lot of people are surprised to hear that I'm a 4. But at home, I'm you know, I'm up and down, moody wise, and all that kind of stuff, and I don't love that. You know,
That's interesting that you say that when you're out and about, people don't. When you tell them you're a 4, they're surprised. I get that too.
Really?
I do. And I think, well, do you think that us 4s are going to show you bare our souls and really show our insides to someone that we don't know that well, or someone that we're just out and about with? Like that, we've learned how to be in the world. And it's hard, you know, those, it's very private, right? There's a lot that is so in that deficiency or feeling like there's something wrong with me. Most people aren't going to just like talk about that and advertise it.
Right.
I don't know. Is that?
But I do think anything that you are not gets on some level caricaturized. Don't you think? The less familiar you are with something, the more caricaturized it gets.
Yeah.
Can you say more about what that means?
So like, you know, I have never been to Zimbabwe or something like that.
Okay.
So to some degree, whatever image I have, it's reduced to just a caricature of what it is. I don't have any of the nuance and the complexity of what, you know, I don't know why I use Zimbabwe as an example, but like if you're someone who doesn't have any 4s in their life, or you only know that one 4 that like is a friend of a friend, and they're the most extreme example.
Yes.
You only know that one story.
Yes.
Then it is just this one pretty simple, extreme version of what it is.
Yeah.
So, and like with anything, you know, if you really get to know something, you see all the nuance and the complexity of it, you know, and so I think when you say, are they just expecting us to be completely bearing our souls and moody all the time?
Yeah.
They probably
because
are.
it's a caricature.
Yeah,
Yes.
just like I'm expecting all perfectionists or ones to be the most caricaturized version of that number.
Yes.
To some degree, you know.
And that's what I like about the Enneagram. It's the depth of it and the complexity of it it's so not something to label, you know, to be put in a box. It is such a tool of transformation that that caricature that gets described, all over the place, the classic or the poster child of the number, is just that's just one individual. We're all so unique. And then you have the subtypes and all those different expressions, of the type. And so you really have to be with the Enneagram and work with it for a long time on a lot of different levels.
Yes.
To catch all the nuances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now a quick break to hear from one of our awesome sponsors so that we can bring you all this great content.
David, I have to tell you, I just cooked eggs this morning that literally slid out of the pan. No scraping, no sticking, no stress.
Wait, slid out? You didn't even have to do that pan, tilt, and pray move?
Not once, because I use my beloved Our Place Always pan. It's toxin-free, non-stick, and it looks so pretty on my stove. I feel like a real adult.
I'd been cooking on the same old pan since college. I think it was made of whatever spaceships were made of in the 80s, probably full of forever chemicals.
Oh, it is. Did you know most non-stick cookware still has PFAS and Teflon? They can actually leach into your food and home.
So you're saying my Saturday pancakes have been seasoned with who knows what?
Exactly. That's why I switched to Our Place's toxin-free cookware. Their 4-piece cookware set replaces a whole cabinet full of pots and pans. It sears, sautés, fries, boils, even steams, and it's a breeze to clean.
You're telling folks 4 pans can do all that and they match?
Oh, yes. And buying the full set saves you $150. Plus, they come in those gorgeous Our Place colors you'd actually want sitting out on your counter.
That's why I retired my spaceship pan and updated to the gorgeous sage green Always Pan 2.0.
Our Place is having their biggest sale of the year right now. Save up to 35% site-wide now through December 2nd. Head to FromOurPlace.com to see why more than 1 million people have made the switch to Our Place kitchenware. And with their 100-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free returns, you can shop with total confidence. Shop the Our Place Black Friday sale right now. No code needed. David, my nephews are very invested in their Hiya bottles. They spent so much time decorating them with the stickers from the first order, dinosaurs, lightning bolts. Now those bottles are basically celebrities at breakfast.
That's a parenting hack right there. If kids design it, they use it. And unlike the usual candy in disguise gummies, 2 teaspoons of sugar, mystery chemicals, gummy goop, Hiya's a super-powered chewable with 0 sugar and 0 gummy additives. Tastes great, and picky eaters don't stage a protest.
And are you tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens? Hiya now has Kids Daily Greens Plus Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with 55 plus whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. Just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy.
Formulated with pediatricians and nutritional experts, pressed with a blend of organic fruits and veggies, and third-party tested so parents can breathe a little easier.
And the boys still showing off those stickered bottles like trophies.
We've worked out a special deal with Hiya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hiyahealth.com/RBG. This deal is not available on their regular website.
Go to hiyahealth.com/RBG and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults.
And now back to the show.
Well, so for parents who might be wondering about their child, we would love to hear from you two. Now thinking back, when did you first see evidence of your number showing up? Is there a story that reflects that, or what do you remember?
Well, obviously, this is, in retrospect, because I wasn't familiar with the Enneagram until a few years ago. But I used to, when I was a kid, I played piano very young. And I would turn off all the lights in the house, like on a Friday night or whatever. And I would sit at the piano and I would put my head almost on the keys. And I would just make up moody music.
Wow.
And I would be so content in the dark moodiness of the moment. It was like I was drawn to the drama of it or something. And I was always, my favorite song on whatever record was always the last track on the song, like the slow one, the one that like probably the label hated and the artist was like, it has to be on there, So I think looking back, that's my, that's what immediately comes to my mind is like, I had those kinds of tendencies as early on as I can remember,
That makes me think, what a healthy outlet for a kid who's a 4 to have an opportunity to not just listen to sad music, but to create and move towards kind of a sense of purpose in the midst of the creativity and the emotion. And that's a great
I don't know what I would
outlet
do without music,
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, you can listen to music. You can put headphones on and really get into it. I suppose maybe this is an unknowable thing, but if I weren't a musician, maybe I would be just an avid music consumer. I'd be one of those people, God bless them, we need more of them, who just go to shows all the time and they buy all the records, and maybe that would be me.
Yes.
But to be able to play, to get inside the music and to just be a part of it. And, I still love learning these classical pieces that have been around for hundreds of years, just so you can play it. You can be the music for a little bit, Yeah, what an outlet.
Yeah.
I hope everyone has some version of that in their life,
I'm going to guess that you like minor chords.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting that you say that, Sissy, and that you tell that story, because mine is going to be similar and different in some ways. That when I thought about this question, the outlet piece, So what came to my mind when I've thought about how did I know I was a 4? In retrospect, I remember like being maybe early high school, somewhere in there, and going to my room, putting in the cassette tape, and listening to the sad love songs and crying. And that felt really good. Like it was, I enjoyed the sadness. I think you said that earlier. I enjoyed just that melancholy, part of me was being stimulated. And I felt, one of the things that 4s experience is they don't feel understood by their family or by their parents. And so I think early on, I must have just picked up on that and then got more imaginative, sort of went inside and got lost in stories. And music was a big part of my growing up. Listening, I mean, I did play an instrument for a while too, but I much more kind of feel like an avid, consumer of music and appreciator, appreciator of a well-written song and the turn of phrase and again, I like minor chords too. And I just, it's just makes you feel, beautiful music makes you feel. And 4s tend to use their imagination to magnify feelings. I remember when I read that, about the 4, I was like, I remember doing that as an outlet of my emotions, So music helped me, even though I didn't get that same experience of, really creating it.
Yeah.
So I think when I first put this together, I was counseling a girl who told me that her mom had hit her. And I knew her mom really well, and I wasn't sure that was exactly what happened. And so we spent a very long time together, talked, and finally she said, what she said to me hurt me so bad, it felt like she hit me. And since then, I have noticed that there is it feels like memories are filtered through an emotional grid. And what has been the common experience, and this is obviously I see girls, and I would be curious if you would say boys, it's the same, but that I've had so many parents of 4's call me and say, my daughter doesn't love group because she just doesn't fit as well as everybody else. And they all hug when they get there and they talk to each other and people don't talk to her. And so I will pay more attention. And that's in fact not what's happening any more than I would walk into a group and they don't say hi to me because they're teenage girls.
Right.
Yeah.
And what has been tough is when I say to parents, I'm not sure that's exactly what's happening. I think that may be more perspective than it is reality. The parents believe her. And so she ends up being pulled from group. So I was talking to a friend who's a 4 about this years ago, and she said, oh, I exaggerate things all the time. She said, as a grown-up, I will be sending a text and I'll have to back it up, delete the text, and start over again with less intense language. So if there's a parent listening, what do they do? Like, how do you, and I would say even therapists who are listening, how do we make 4's feel heard? Because obviously that's so important, and kind of distill out what really is going on. And how do I help you see that it's not that people don't like you? It's just you feel lonely or you feel, I don't know. I don't even know what my question is, but will y'all speak? Well, I feel like you both get it by your faces.
What also muddies the water is like, you may not feel lonely. You may want to feel lonely, I mean, I remember when I was a kid having a very similar situation to the person in the group who's like, no one talks to me. I remember coming home and telling my parents I had started at this new school, and I was telling them like, I don't have any friends, nobody talks to me. And I mean, I should say, so that the listener can just fast forward through this, I don't have an answer. I don't really know. I don't know that I have good advice. I just know I did that, and my parents are the best. And so, of course, they eventually went in and spoke with my teacher, and the teacher was like, it seems great. He's got friends. He's fine, which was true. And I knew that it was true. I knew as I was telling my parents, I knew it wasn't true. And if I'm really honest, when I think back, I don't know why I was doing it. I don't really know. The only answer that I can come up with is I think I knew that there are stories out there where you start a new school. Nobody writes a movie about the kid who starts a new school and makes some friends on day one and like everything's going great.
The trope, yes.
That's not a movie.
Yes.
The movie is the kid goes to the new school, nobody talks to him.
Yeah.
He's sitting alone.
Yeah.
And you want the movie.
The movie's in my head.
Yeah.
The movie moves you. The reality, that's boring. It's a great day at school. I don't know. We played basketball at recess. Like, I don't know. It's uninteresting.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I can say
That's so
I'm really
insightful.
grateful now that I have 2 daughters, and who knows what their numbers are, but I'm seeing a lot of similarities coming out, with one of them especially. And it is comforting to my wife, who is understandably concerned sometimes with some behavior. And I'm like, I literally did that. I remember doing that. I don't know why I did it, but I did it, and we're not in uncharted waters right now. There's something comforting about that.
Yeah.
Yes. That's good, Jon. Thank you.
I think the other thing that came to mind as you all were talking, as you even asked that question, I remember the first time I learned early in studying the Enneagram, it was said that 4s have as many emotions as 1s have critical thoughts. And I remember hearing that, and it stopped me in my tracks, and I had so much empathy for the 4s in my life that I love, thinking, oh, I know what it feels like to be pummeled with something that is hard to work with or is just too much. And thinking about young 4s, thinking about kids growing up in the summer and thinking, that is a lot to work with. And adolescence is a lot to work with on a good day under the best of circumstances. And then you've got, to your words, this intensity added to it. Like, that's just a lot to carry. So I think to have compassion for parents who are suspecting they could be parenting a 4 and figuring out how to make their way. I love the wisdom of you all's words.
I know, me too.
Thinking about parenting, we're going to jump now from your childhood to your adulthood. So in the context of parenting, where would you say you have seen your number benefit you?
I would say on the, with emotions, like you're saying, being attuned emotionally to my children. And I asked one of my children this was another thing you were asking about, but in the same vein, she said, we can handle their big emotions because we're comfortable with our emotions, and that's helpful, I think, just modeling and joining them. And
yes.
So I think that is one way for sure that it's benefited is, not always welcome, which we can talk about that later, but from the child is not always welcoming that because it's a little too, intense maybe for them. They, even though you're there with them, and maybe that's because I don't always know how to do it in a way that if my emotions are big and their emotions are big, that's a whole nother story. Yeah. That can get tangled up. But if I can have some perspective and some distance and be just a safe space when they're having them, I'm thankful for that. Really thankful for that.
Okay. Can I just say, side note, I love that you spoke to that because I want to say in my experience, every mom who is a 4 who has a son, I want you to lean into all of what Kendra just said, because I cannot tell you how many boys who have moms who are 4s have talked about what that feels like. Like, she wants me to get in the deep end of the pool and swim around in there for long periods of time, and I want to go no farther than the shallow end.
Right.
And the wisdom of your words of knowing I've got to pay attention to that and know when to step in and when to step back.
Because if I could tell you how many times my teenage son has said, "It's not that deep, Mom. It's not that deep," which is a word these days, I think. Whatever deep, the way they use deep. And I'm like, what does deep mean? What to you? What are you talking about deep?
And then he's like, Dad, I don't want to answer that.
Yeah, you've already gone deep.
Right.
On the word deep. It's not deep.
You know what I'm saying?
Good,
So is that what you're,
Oh, yeah. I love that
it's
you
not
spoke
that deep,
to that.
Mom.
Yeah. Truthfully, my biggest benefit to being a 4 is, like I mentioned, having a child who I hesitate to say it because you're not supposed to put the number on them too early,
Right.
but who seems to be a 4, be doing a lot of things that make us think that way. Specific things that I'll tell you a story that illustrates this. We'll just say there was a man who had a daughter. And one night during pizza movie night, she started coughing and she had this pain in her chest. And I think it was a real pain in her chest for a second. She kind of freaks out and she's like, "I've got this pain in my chest." She's freaking out. She's like, "I gotta go to the hospital." Now, we all, we know our kids. Like a mom knows the difference between this kind of cry in a newborn and like that kind of cry. You know your kid. So I know we're fine. She's okay. But eventually it's like, well, she won't stop. So you do the thing where you're like, all right, let's go to the hospital, hoping that she'll be like, oh, now it's getting too real.
Yeah.
Okay, we're all packing up in the car. Yeah, it's 11 o'clock at night or whatever. We're almost at the hospital. She's like, she's sticking to it. Of course, we get in to the ER and I'm like, this man is trying to say to like the person who's checking you in, like, is there like a fake doctor you can send out for just this, like, my child is having chest pains. Of course, they're like, I'm about to call CPS on you. Like, no, we just heard chest pains.
Sure.
So we get in. Anyway, it's a $2,000 in night. She's fine. I did the exact same thing when I was a kid.
Wow.
It was this man, did this exact same thing where he couldn't stop blinking. I was about the same age. I mean, how random is this? I couldn't stop blinking. Can't stop blinking. My dad takes me to the ER. Of course, as soon as we're there, I'm fine. And then, the bill was whatever it was. They gave him some eye drops that, of course, he's like, I can just throw these away. My son's fine. And all the while, just like that story that I was telling my parents about not fitting in at school, it's like, I know that this is not real. Why am I doing this? I don't know. You're just going along with it. Had I not had that experience, could I not relate to my daughter in this way? Who knows what we would have done? We could have taken her in to have a myriad of tests done. We could have gone down a whole rabbit trail. But I'm like, I did this. And now we joke about it. And that time that, it just came up the other day, that time that we went to the ER, So that's the biggest benefit for me being a 4 is I know this is her version of that. I totally remember when I did that, and I'm so grateful for it because I think it would be really scary sometimes or overwhelming or all of the above if I didn't have that experience,
Empathy. I mean, it's really authentic, true empathy because you can imagine how she felt. And that's a huge gift to give your kids.
Yeah. And one day we'll chat about our ER visits and we'll be like, why were we doing that? She'll be like, I don't know. We're so weird. We're so unique.
Where would y'all say you see the number get in the way?
I mean, I think it's with different kids, so I can kind of give examples with different of my kids with different personalities. I have one that is also a more emotionally intense type. And so we can get really tangled up where I don't have that objectivity, with buttons that are getting pushed. And all of a sudden I'm like, am I 12 years old? And I am, in that emotional sense. So I wish I could have more, parents that maybe are not as emotionally inclined, have that just more objectivity, So I would say that with one personality type of my kids. And then I think the other one, if I can describe this, and this would maybe be with both of them as well, but just over-identifying, I mean, kind of picking up on the empathy, the danger in that or the, slippery slope is over-identifying with as you're empathizing.
Yes.
And then it becomes a little bit about you, or a lot about you. And you do, again, lose objectivity by over-identifying. So I did have that experience with one of my children too. And it was, it was a really eye-opening thing for me. I mean, I did a lot of my own work around what was coming up for me because of something that was happening in their life. And it was all about younger parts in me, inner child. It was all about that. And so I had some help in sorting through that. And it was a gift really to do that. But that would be, I would think, sort of a little bit of a red flag that you just have to watch out for.
So
it's such a great continuum to think about empathy into over-identifying and where does it get
projection,
blurry?
Right?
Projection.
I mean, just projection, which is, we all can do that. We all are, unconsciously going to do that.
Yes.
But then that takes you away from really meeting your kid where they are. What do they really need?
Yes. So good. Yeah.
I think the thing that I think about the most, at least in terms of how am I, my unique personality, my fourness, where am I maybe doing damage or not doing my best, is sometimes I wonder if it's too gray. I'm totally. I mean, gray is the water that I swim in, and is that the best for my kids? You know, I definitely worried about this maybe more when they were a little younger and when we were starting to, like, you know, how do you talk about the nuances and mystery of faith to a child whose brain cannot do abstract thought yet,
Right.
you know? But you also want to give a true answer to the question they just ask you. And I've had a lot of moments like that where I'm like, man, if I were a different personality type, it would just be, here's the answer.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I end up thinking about that a lot, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Building on that, we'd love to ask you this question. So, what are some practical ways you've learned to work through the struggle side of your number when you see it getting in the way of who you want to be as a parent?
Man, I mean, my wife, Amy McLaughlin, is the absolute best.
She's
So, I
amazing.
It's
mean,
remarkable.
you know, I lean on her and take her lead in a lot of ways. I mean, you know, 4s are, of course, very empathetic, and my wife is not a 4, but I don't know anyone who is more empathetic than my wife, and has more of a pulse on what our kids are feeling and what they're going through. And, you know, she, of course, knows, I know my kid, but I might not know, like, the kid that they're talking about in school and who their parents are. And, you know, she's got that whole labyrinth up here in her mind. And so, I mean, it's a cheap answer that won't help any listener who's not married to Amy McLaughlin. But, you know,
yeah.
she's my solution for all those problems. You know?
Yeah.
She's a great solution.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it does take teamwork and different gifts, you know, and so if you can surround yourself with people with, you know, different gifts, like, it was hard to, that's a hard question because, you know, by nature, 4s are not practical people, which has been one of the struggles as a parent for me. I thought, oh, if I could just be, you know, much more practical, like a 1 or a 3, or, you know, just like a thinking type, maybe more black and white, then, or more organized, you know, better planner, those kind of things, parenting would come, you know, a little bit easier. So I think, you know, we're giving a sort of advice to parents who are 4s. Yeah, that is hard. But I mean, maybe this is also a cheap answer, you know, but self-awareness.
Yes.
You've got to do your own work to understand what's going on, because and if you do that, then that's going to be a gift to anyone that you love. Your work is a gift because you will be just more self-aware, and that will be a gift to them, for them to become more self-aware too, you know. And just, I guess I was always looking for the people that were good at the practical. The experts, the books, you know, where, knowing my weaknesses, I was looking for resources to help me, you know, with those areas that were just not natural for me. So, you know, friends also just help you talk through it. Sounding boards.
Yes.
You know, have support in your life, whether it is your spouse or friends or a group of friends.
What would you each say you hope your children experience from you as a parent?
Definitely unconditional love. I hope that they feel seen and known for who they are. And that I'm for them and that they have something to offer the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unconditional love is the number one. And it's kind of, I feel like it's this sort of, I don't know if it's a definition catch-22, but it's like, I grew up in the church and I grew up with this idea of a God who loves me unconditionally. And like I said, my parents were the best. I knew that they loved me, but experientially, you only have what you have to work with, and then you have kids. And when we had our girls, I mean, there hasn't been any single event that has been more impactful on my faith than having kids. Because now you have this unconditional love that's just not even, I mean, I always say, like with Amy, she's the love of my life. I would choose to go into a burning building for her or take a bullet for her or whatever. But that's a choice that I have made in my life. And with your kids, it's not even a choice. I mean, it's just there. And the frustrating thing, the sort of the catch-22 of it, which I don't know if it's a catch-22. I'm feeling less confident in that metaphor as I go, is I don't know that they can get it. I don't think they don't know how much I love them. And maybe they, and then therefore it's like I want them to have this sort of epiphany of like where they can feel how much I love them. And then therefore, feel how much God loves them and all that. But I didn't really have like a tactile access to that until we had Luca and then of course Livy, So I would hope that they would feel that from me. It's like I guess the challenge is to every day think of how I can get them closer to feeling that,
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, would love to ask you both, how do you think your kids would describe what it's like to have a parent in your number?
I mean, as far as my fourness goes, I had my daughter one time. This was actually one of the greatest moments I've had as a parent, which is kind of an odd. It was a moment that I'm like, I wouldn't have ever seen this coming as like a great parenting moment. But I picked her up from like a hang with her friends, and I don't remember the details, but she was really sad. And we're driving around. I gotta be careful that I don't cry when I'm saying this. We're driving around and going back home, and she was kind of telling me about what was going on, but I wasn't really pressing. I don't know what it was that I did. I felt like I wasn't doing anything. And she said, "Dad, I like I like being with you when I'm sad." And I don't know. There's something about that. Because sad can be such a lonely place. And we've talked about how fine with that we can be as fours. And I guess just knowing that I was a comfort for her, and she's going to be sad so many more times in her childhood, and I'll be there, So,
Jon, I have to tell you, as you told that story, I was actually thinking a moment ago, Kendra, when you and I were talking about the unique challenge I think a mom as a four could face with a son who might struggle with talking, that you just illustrated beautifully the superpower of a dad who's a four with a daughter. Like, I just think, I don't know a father in any other number who could get in close proximity of what is so intuitive and instinctive with you. And you just illustrated that perfectly. And I love that you did for any dad in that number listening, and for any dad not in your number to think, how could I move toward that? Because of course she said that to you. So thank you for telling that story. What a beautiful picture of that.
Yeah. Very similar to what Jon is saying. I think they would appreciate that I could be with them in their sadness. And by that same token, that sometimes they want to move on from their sadness and they are ready to move on. And I'm still in it. And so, I was, given that response as a very honest answer, which I'm so glad that child could be honest with me. But it is that back kind of to it's not that deep. Sometimes that's all I need is to be with you. If this is a non-4 child,
Yes.
Jon, like you were saying, maybe a non-4 child is kind of like, got it. Thank you. Moving on. And I'm still left in the dust, maybe with the feelings. Thinking about them, feeling, thinking, feeling, thinking all over again, So I don't know if that really answers the question, but that, and I also think they would appreciate the creativity that is brought to the home, whether it's the birthday parties or creating an evening, some event, and just like beauty, that is what one of my child said, was sort of bringing beauty into the home so that the home feels like a very, just comforting place and maybe invites their creativity, I hope. Yeah.
It's great. Oh, it's so good.
I would love to know, parents who are listening, that either know or as you all are talking think, oh, I think maybe I'm a 4. What wisdom would you want to share with them in their growth as parents and as people both?
I think I already said this, but get to know yourself. Please do your own work as far as understanding how you exemplify a 4. What about that really rings true for you, and just that awareness is going to help you grow, and it's going to help you be a better parent. And I also think get to know what your kids' numbers are. Now, we can't really type them but you can because you're typing them on their behavior, right? Not their motivation when you're looking at your kids.
Yeah.
But behavior belies, their true, a lot of who they are. And so I think it's helpful to, I guess this is just a general answer, but to also get to know and what your kids, how your number as a 4 reacts with and interacts with their number. That's really helpful. And also it helps you to not take things personally. As a 4, we tend to take things personally. And that I think it would have been good to not take things so personally from my kids sometimes. There were times when I needed to be the grown up and not go into those deeper feelings, and just let it, and be more lighthearted. I think as a 4, I'm more serious. I feel like a more serious parent, and kids need lighthearted and fun. And I would lean into that. I would encourage parents to lean into being more lighthearted.
Great.
Yeah. And finding ways to have fun. And maybe your spouse can help with that, because they need to not be so serious. They just don't need us to be so serious all the time. It's good at times. It's very important, and being with the feelings, and that's got its place for sure.
Certainly.
But I don't know. That feels like a growing edge for me.
Great challenge.
I should ask, because you would know. I just heard at one point, you shouldn't don't try to put a label or Enneagram number on your kids. But maybe this is out. I mean, what are your thoughts on
I've
that?
heard that as well throughout the years. Like, I don't, obviously there's no rule or anything.
Right.
Like I said, you kind of are intuiting it anyways.
Yeah.
But maybe they're developing, right? They're
Right.
continuing to develop. And what I have heard is you really, well, when you're asking someone to what their number is, what if they're learning their type, it's good to look back to your early 20s.
Yeah.
Early to mid 20s, because that's when your personality is developed. David, correct me if
This
is what I understand, but that's sort of when you're in your almost like prime of your personality, and when your type is all showing all those characteristics, or a lot of them, and it's also about motivation,
right?
And so we don't,
which I feel like is the trickiest thing that everybody who's trying to put a number on all their friends or whatever, we're always looking at the behavior. We just can't help ourselves.
Yeah. Yes.
But I guess with your kids, it's like, yeah, you're looking at the behavior, but if anyone is qualified to take a guess at the motivation, it would be the parent.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, especially if you are aware of the Enneagram, you've been studying it, and you know yourself.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen. You're gonna see it, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, I recognize this. I recognize this."
Yeah.
And but we tried to kind of backpedal, because of course we were talking about it with our kids early on. I mean, probably, and so they probably heard us say, "I think you're this, I think you're that," and then I was like, "But wait, you get to decide. You're the one who knows. You know better."
Right.
But I think we were probably right.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we introduced this series, we talked about challenge parents to think about it like a working hypothesis, where you're studying them and observing them and letting them, to Kendra's wisdom, develop, and not assigning that to them. It's like, let's just work with this working hypothesis, and we might see something change.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
They're growing, all those things. But to your wisdom in asking that question, it's ultimately not any of our job to assign a number to another person, including our kids. But the working hypothesis gives some freedom and flexibility, because I think to everything Kendra's saying, like, kids drop crumbs all along the way, and some things become more and more obvious. Yeah,
I mean, and some are more are obvious. Some you just cannot help. You just know. One of mine is like that.
Same thing.
One, you said that.
We're like, we keep it in our heads. Amy and I talk about it, just the two of us, but it's like one, we would be shocked if we're wrong on this. The other one, we're like, I don't know.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we don't quite know yet.
So that kind of shows all the variations, and how even of the same numbers. Some people are much more obvious. Yeah. And some it develops as they get older.
As far as like practical, some practical advice for parents trying to grow in their number. A practical thing that my counselor and friend Chad Karger at Porter's Call gave me years ago was to start meditating. I started that back in 2019, which I had never really done it before, and it's one of those things where there's zero immediate gratification involved. I mean, if you're looking for if you hate immediate gratification, you're going to love meditating. It was, and I started with an app and 10 minutes a day and kind of went from there. And it's one of those things where I think it's helpful for anyone. But it helped me as a 4 be a little more, I felt like there was a little bit of separation between my emotions and my control of myself, and like the next decision that I made and the next word I said, you know what I mean? And maybe even to your point about taking things personally in the moment, it just gives you it slows things down just a second. That's the effect that it's had on me, which has been a really practical, helpful impact,
So good.
That's good, yeah.
Okay, we end every episode with something fun and food related. So our question for you is, what is your number's ideal meal, both food and the experience?
Well, I would say as a 4, first of all, the environment and the setting is really key.
Yeah. I'm so curious to see if you're going to say the exact same thing.
Really? Okay.
We're almost verbatim what I was about to say.
Okay, let's see.
I was going to say lighting. The
lighting. Jon, lighting.
If
yes.
it has the greatest food in the world and we've got some fluorescent lights, I don't want to go.
Totally.
It could be free. Maybe free's, maybe I'm getting a little too extreme.
Yes.
Incredible.
No. I like that. I think that's lighting. I'm picturing this. I've got this in my mind. It's like maybe in a vineyard, outside, on a hillside somewhere, probably in Europe. Maybe, beautiful weather, perfect temperature, all your favorite people. I mean, so to me, I'm just setting the scene, and I'm feeling that. And I mean, that just feels like a taste of heaven, to be honest,
Yes.
that question, that's where that question took me, is, man, we gather around a table, we gather around food, it's breaking bread together. It is like heaven. And so that's the setting for sure. Beautiful tablecloths, beautiful dishes, and thoughtful, something that's been chosen very bespoke maybe for the event. And then as far as the food, I would say, gosh, I mean, just artisan, artisan bread and wine pairings that match the food and have just been carefully selected. I mean, and again, I don't know if it really matters, the food, as long as it's just done really well.
Okay.
Jon, what were you going to say?
My answer is lighting is almost first and foremost. And I mean, the dinner would be me, my wife. The cheat sheet here for this answer is I don't have to. My wife is a foodie. She loves finding like a new restaurant here in town or wherever we are. And so if Amy is like, we got to go to this restaurant, I know it's going to be great. The only thing I need to worry about, or I'm immediately concerned with as I'm walking in, is the lighting great? It's always great if Amy chooses it. And then to your point, you said the tablecloths and all that. I will, when I order my drink, I then am done with the things that I'm concerned about. She will order she'll order for both of us. And it'll be great. But I will ask about what kind of glass. I'm going to order this drink. What kind of glass is it coming in? I want to know, what does that glass feel like? What is it going to look like?
The texture.
If you're somebody who you serve this kind of drink in that kind of glass, maybe I'll order the drink, but I want you to put it in this kind of glass. Can you do that? And then once I've got that, I'm fine.
It's a full sensory experience.
Yes.
You're feasting with your eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not just like, that makes a lot of sense to me. I know what you mean. It's an experience.
Yeah,
and you have maybe an expectation of how that experience will feel meaningful and beautiful and memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my wife is, again, she's sort of the cheat code for this, because if she weren't there, then I would need to be like, okay, what music is playing? What, is it like a speaker in the kitchen, or do we have like, is it nice and like even out surround sound kind of stuff? All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I want it to be busy. I want all the tables to be full. I want it to be a busy restaurant. I don't want us to be like the only table in there. I don't like that. It's got to have some energy to it. So all that.
As we sat down, I thought, you really are two, and I feel like I know you both as friends and as parents, and you are two of the most intentional parents that I think I've ever come across. And to hear your behind that has been such a gift to the two of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
That's really kind.
Thank you for saying yes to this
Thank you.
invitation.
Thank you. Yeah, this has
You
been
guys are always so kind and so
fun.
welcoming.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love being with you.
Yeah, this
Thank
has
you both.
been, you make it easy. It's fun and just great to be with you. Yeah.
David, what a team we have that we get to call friends who help make this podcast possible. Chris Starrett, our engineer,
Our management team at KCH.
and we are thrilled to be a part of the That Sounds Fun network.
Our music was created by the insanely talented Dave Haywood of Lady A.
And if this podcast felt helpful to you, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things.
We are grateful for you and cheering you on always.